Well, hello again, and welcome back to the Spirit of Watercolor with Linda. I have a question for you. Do you ever feel daunted by the giant sheet of paper, the 22 by 30 sheet? You want to stretch it, but you're not sure how. You feel daunted by the large paper. What if I get too wet, it buckles? What if I make a mistake on that big piece of paper, right? Well, the last painting we did, we got halfway there. I had this half sheet, here's the other half, and I cut it in half, and then I have a half sheet of gator board, and I mentioned how I sprayed it. I didn't actually soak it and tape it. I sprayed it, okay, and then I taped it down. Well, I'm going to show you that at the table, and instead of using gator board, I'm going to use plywood. And it'll be twice as big as this, okay? And what I did was I did this method. I'm going to do this method for you, a demonstration, like I did here, but I didn't show you when I did this painting. I just told you. So we're going to go to the table, okay, and we're going to do it's an easier, quicker way of stretching your paper than the labored soaking way. And I think you'll like this. You're going to need a spray bottle, okay, and again a piece of board and some masking tape or artist tape of as thick as you choose. And then we need this terry cloth towel, okay. And we're going to go to the table and I'm going to show you, and hopefully this will give you confidence to get your paper somewhat wet and stretched so that you don't have to worry about that buckling. And then we can go from there and use that piece that I stretched and make a painting on it, okay? That will be another video. Okay, this is a quick one, a quick tip so that you can get some confidence to go and buy a big sheet. You don't have to buy the most expensive big sheet, just get a good one. A Strathmore sheet is what I have, okay? All right, I'll see you there at the table. So here is a beautiful sheet, 22 by 30 inches, 22 inches by 30. Strathmore 400 series. Got this at Michael's craft store. It's, I think, the only large paper you can buy there. I've got a plywood sheet here. I lost my gator board at church. Somebody got rid of it in the room where I accidentally left it. So I'm back to plywood, but we can still do this new method that I've been trying and has been working for me to eliminate the buckling with water instead of soaking this. I have tried this once and it really did work on a half sheet. Now I'm going to go and try it on this sheet here. So I have my spray bottle, okay, and I'm going to spray the back and I'm going to spray the front. And I thought that this was the back just because maybe it is. It feels more bumpy on this side, and watercolor paper, you can use both sides. It doesn't really matter, so you can choose if one side has more texture and you want that. This side's smoother. I like the textured side. And this is 140-pound cold press, so it's not as textured as rough. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do this as a quick stretch method, and it does work. It may not work as well as an absolute stretch, but what I really like about this, okay, this is my back. I'm calling this the back, and I'm gonna spray it all the way across, okay. And this is going to get a lot of the buckling out, and it may not take all of it, but it'll be enough that you won't have it be an issue. And I like this better because it's quicker and it works pretty well, saves me time, but I don't have that buckling problem. Okay, now, and I learned this from a tip on Cheap Joe's. They do some tips and tricks. I don't know how old those are, but I actually saw that. So this is not something that I just figured out on my own, and I'll give them credit. But we share these things with each other. I would like to encourage people to go larger. It can be very fun and very satisfying. Okay, I might spray that a little more because after I kind of wiped it with my towel, it's just a terry cloth towel. I kind of was trying to saturate the paper, right? But I didn't know if it was completely wet. Okay, so that's been wet twice. Now I'm going to flip it over, okay? And we're gonna tape it down. This way it doesn't pull so taut either that I have to put all that tape and staples in, which is a lot of difficulty for me. I don't like putting staple marks in my paper. Even if it's going under the mat, I don't care for stabbing it with all these holes all over the sides. Once you frame it, nobody sees it. That's really not a big deal. I kind of appreciate, and I see how the paper's curling a little. Now we're going to spray this side, okay? This is my big Trader Joe's bottle. You don't have to have this big a spray bottle. My other spray bottle is I can't believe it's not butter. And that's, you know, that's a pretty good one too. Just whatever you use, make sure you've completely gotten everything out of it so that that's just totally clear. There's nothing in there but water. And take your squirter out, you know, and squirt water through that. You know, like fill this up when you've got it pretty clean as possible. And then, you know, squirt, you know, like load it with water, squirt it until you know it's just water spraying out of the spray bottle. I don't want any cleaner on my paper or whatever else was in your bottle, butter. In that other one. Okay, see how it's kind of doing the buckle thing a little bit? Okay, now I'm going to smooth it out like I did on the other side, okay? Okay, so that is getting nicely saturated, and I'm going to let it set for a minute, and then we're going to flatten it out some more. So you see how I wiped it with this cloth? It's just saturate that. You can do it this way. This is kind of how they did it, where they kind of rolled it. Wait, let me do that. And then we'll do it one more time, but I think it was more like this size. It wasn't as, and then they rolled it up. And then they kind of come across evenly like this, okay? And then we'll tape her down, and we'll let her dry. But first I want it just to kind of soak in. Let it soak in for a minute here. See if there's anything here that's not wet, because I want it to flatten out again as evenly as possible. Okay. Again, it will take this buckling away when you're actually adding water or painting to it, when you're painting on it. Okay, I think that's pretty wet. Okay, and I only tried this once before, so I'm really excited to try it on a large sheet like this. I can use a really thick tape like this, which is art tape, or I can go with a thinner tape. I've just got my masking tape. Probably might not hold as well on such a large sheet, so I'm kind of debating. I'm running out of this big white tape, and I might have to buy some more. So I'm going to put that on in just a moment. I was going to do this and forgot. Get the hair out of the way. Okay. Sometimes my hair gets in paintings. I actually sold a painting to a lady and got it to her house. And she said, "It's really nice, but there's this long hair stuck in there, sticking out." I had to take the frame apart at her house. Now that's not a good experience. A little embarrassing. And then she was happy with it and hung it up. So, oh, one thing I wanted to mention is how, you see this has a deckled edge on the top and the bottom. You know, sometimes people like to, if they've got the deckled edge paper all the way around, some brands have that. It's very pretty to mat that where the mat's just underneath, and you let that deckled edge kind of show off. And you can decal these, which is another thing we could talk about, which is really awesome too. Okay, I want to get some of this to hold the paper down, right? So I'm trying to decide where to start here, because I'll go where I see the less kind of buckling, and then I'll smooth it again, and then I'll tape again. Let's just go like that. Okay. All the way across here. You can cut it with your scissors if you like your tape nice and perfect. All right, scissors ended up. Okay, we don't need it. Okay, just tear it. Okay, bring it across like so. That looks nice and smooth, right? Now there's times where I didn't get it this smooth, and when it dried you see some change. Well, then just take the tape off when it dries and Let me fix it. Now see, there's some buckling here, so I want to take that and push it, flatten it. There's a lot of water underneath, so still. This is actually a really good way of doing it, and I was really impressed with the results I got. It is going to have a little, you see, a little bowing while it's wet. When it dries, it tightens, okay? All right, I'm going to go with this big tape and hope I don't run out because I don't know how much is left. Okay, so yeah. I'll just keep going here, put some on each side, okay? And then we're going to go back later when it dries and we'll see. Oops, it's not long enough, is it? Is it? Not quite. Yeah, I need to go. It doesn't have to be, but I'll fix it. I'll just take what I didn't. Okay, that's okay. This is actual artist tape, and this should remove pretty easily off of there. I don't like tapes that are too sticky. They can tear the fiber of the paper. And that's, again, it's being kind of picky. But then you have this beautiful painting, and when you take this tape off, you have this really nice edge. And like I said, if you want to just mat it, or you just lay it on top of a mat as opposed to cutting mats and putting them, that's another easy thing you can do too. That's really nice. Here, I'm going to try to make sure this is adhering to the board, the tape half and half or something like that. Oh, it's sticking, yeah. And we'll do one more, and then we'll let her dry. That's not even, is it? Yeah, this is, no one said this is something you want to do just too fast, you know. Take it nice and slow and get it just the way you like it. Okay. Oh. And we'll probably zip through this a little quickly on the video, maybe. It's going to be a short video today. It's just talking about this wonderful tip. Let's see, am I still getting some buckling there? I don't know. Because the bigger the sheet, the more buckle potential it seems you have. Sometimes you can get away without stretching at all or wetting your paper. And that's kind of neat, actually. I'm going to go ahead. Oh, could have been longer. Okay, I'm going to put it up here. Debating whether I need to smooth that anymore or not. I'm going to put one more tape up there. Sometimes I just don't gauge the length, and that's okay. Doesn't really matter because I can just cover it up like this. Okay. And I do see that that's kind of like that. So I'm going to try and lay this as flat as possible. That's a old paper towel. Okay. And and we're going to let that, it's going to hopefully tighten nicely and dry. I'm thinking about that part there. I'm hoping it's going to smooth out. I might, I think it will. Let's find out. I'll be back when it's dry. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that here's our large board, okay? And whew, it's big, huh? Isn't that great though? And it's still drying. I'm still working on it, but I did notice that it still had a little bit more bumps and buckles than I wanted. So I wanted to mention that I untaped, you know, the one bottom side and, you know, a side and the bottom, and I kind of took my towel and I ran it across again. You can go back and do that while it's still drying, and then tape it down again, and it'll be relatively straight when this completely dries. It'll be relatively flat and stretched. there may be a little bit, you'll see a little bit of wave in there, but when you paint, it's not going to create a problem, okay? So I wanted to do that for you, and we can move from there to an actual painting. So I'm glad you came to see this. I hope it's helpful, and I hope you'll keep on watching with me. We've got, I think, about 68 videos now. I'm like, really? So I'm really glad that there's a lot of good content here for people that want to learn about watercolor and the spiritual nature of it and the beauty of it, right? And also to realize it's a process. It's about, you know, learning and growing ourselves as people, enriching our lives. So I'm really glad you're continuing to come back and learn all the time. There's more to learn with watercolor, and like I said, this was a different way for me. That I used to do the old-fashioned way with all the, you know, staples. I'm so glad to always have something new to learn in watercolor, right? So keep on coming. Let's move on now. We're going to go and do some more wonderful things with watercolor. So stay tuned. New one coming. Here we are in September. We're going to start to think about autumn colors, right? So I may refer back to more nature since the colors are so beautiful as the leaves start to fall. And we'll see what we can create. Okay, see you soon. You know what to do, right? Like and subscribe, and keep on coming, and keep on painting and learning and growing.